I always told my children, they want to know what to do for a living. I said, well, pick you a job you would do for nothing, get some darn fool to pay you for doing it. It got its name from a Barcamp, got its name from that. They had a camp over here where they stripped bark off. Makes it nice, you don't have to be in a hurry. Yesterday would have been a nice day. Start from scratch. This what'll give you trouble if those blocks turn over. There's the bracket. Got a keyhole slot in it. Test. It's about 27 years old. Never let me down yet. So it could tell some tales of, well, the different places it's been, the different people that's been on it and around it. And Ted Koppel, he's sat on it a little bit. He didn't climb it. But stick up our scales. I ain't gonna take you off right now. Bigger house painter would have go into shock. They see you doing that. All the rules of painting, you break them when painting these barns. Use that for a while. A lot of ups and downs to this job. No, we've always pretty lucky. I took some spells, and some other guys, maybe had a arm broken or something like that. But as long as the outfit's been out there, I don't think there's ever been a fatality on it. 21,000 something. I don't know. I don't keep track of them. The guy would probably up and quit if he knew how many he'd done. You don't do any accurate measuring. Hope that siding's accurate. H-E-W. In the word shoe, H-E-W. That is my initials. Yeah, that's the first thing I put on. Add a C to it and you got shoe. We had one on our barn at home, and when you go out to do the milking, you'd look up there at that thing and you say, well, somebody paints those things, So then I went to service and come back about 4 years later. Just happened that I was home about 2 days and they come through to repaint the sign. And I went over and was talking to them, and they said, well, we need a guy on the other one of the crews, so I went over and got my duffel bag and took off with it. the way I started. Like the old widow, you know, I think every one I do, I think is going to be my last one, so I put everything I got into it, see. Tie out the edge of it. Sure, anybody can do it if you practice long enough. Maybe the first 10,000 was always pretty sloppy, and then after that it got pretty easy. You keep track of the hours now. We charge by the hour. The company leases the end of the farmer's barn and pays him for the use of the end of his barn, and I'd paint it. They paid me for painting it. Well, at one time there was 4 crews. There was 2 guys on each crew. We used to work up, when we had crews, we'd work up until about the 18th or 20th of December. Then we'd take about 3 weeks off, and then go right back to work. We worked when it was down below 0. No, I got used to it. I don't let anything get me nervous. Stress is something you put on yourself. Yeah, the last 20 years I worked for myself. You've got to train your eye for it, so that you can tell where the letters go. You can see the sign on there before you ever start, so where everything goes. First 5,000 you have to measure, but after that it becomes pretty easy. That's the reason they used to have so many mailpipe signs real close to each other, you know. So you could, while you was doing this, and you could look down the road and see how the other one was spelt. See? You just about have to wear gloves because when you're letting down on those ropes, it would burn the hell out of your hands. So. Got an odd color on the right, so I can tell the right from the left, so that'll help too. Snap some lines and put the tobacco on. Perfect. Well, the basic color we use is a black background, but then if the farmer had his barn painted up nice and red, then we use a red background on it. They're a little, takes a little more time to do those. Oh, probably only about, probably 5% of them are red. Probably less than that. The standard color is black. One reason we stayed away from it, just it takes much longer to do one of them. Yeah, and I used to carry me a case of beer with me all the time. That come in handy. That's where I miss. I always smoked a pipe for 40 years. You aimed right on the end of that pipe, you know, when you went around. All the time I worked for the company, or 45 years there, I didn't chew. You know, I smoked a pipe. Now that I retired, I had to quit my pipe, so I chewed tobacco. see, what's that next letter now? Oh, T, isn't it? Yeah, the old rough barns that soaks right in, you know, and then it doesn't build up as much. If I had to work underground, I'd be drunk all the time. I cannot stand to be underground. I don't care how damn high I gotta go up. I don't want that. You got a lot of oil in it, and your black wants to run on it. See, they hit it a little too hard. It made a little dent in them. They call them seconds. Yeah, they're good brushes. He just holds them back, and then gives me a buzz, and I go up and pick them up. At one time, see, everybody advertised on barns and buildings because there wasn't any billboards. So nail pouch, they just, instead of switching over to billboards, they just stayed on the barns. And then there, I forget which year it was, they passed the billboard law, the Highway Beautification Act. So then the company thought, well, we were going to have to stop painting them, so they laid us all off. And then it went on for a couple of years there, and another senator, he got them declared national landmarks through an act of Congress. So they sent me back out by myself just to do a few to see how this was going to turn out, and then it just stayed that way from there on. Oh, there's a bunch of them up around Akron. I got them, they're inside of people's houses. They just wanted the mail pouch on the front of their house. Nice big home, probably a $200,000 home. You know, I've got one down in, just out of Ogilvy Park there. The guy's got one on the back of his house, swimming pool. Everybody else had a Budweiser. You know, years ago, they used to have those vinyls you put on the bottom of the pool, Budweiser. And, this guy, he had to have a mail pouch on the side of an elephant. That was the company wanted it done, you know. Didn't mind it. I kind of wondered after the time I got done, I wondered who was the dumb animal, me or it. No, he had it lay down, the trainer, he had it lay down. You could get the chew and part of the mail pouch, you know, and then have it stand up, and then you could do the tobacco. You know, dirt cars, you know. The company would pay for having the rest of the car lettered, you know, for putting the mail pouch on it. I was going so slow, I'm getting cobwebs on my brush. It was my favorite letter in school. F. I've seen a lot of them. Well, you used to run into a few of them that's misspelled. Used to have a guy, for some reason, he would turn the L and E backwards in yourself. R-U-S-L-E-F. Yeah, when I was out working on the barn, I saw them never stop for lunch. I figured it wasn't worth taking all these clothes off, and driving 5 miles and then back, start over again. The biggest change is you have an old barn someplace and you think, well, about 5 years I'll go back and redo it, and when you come back there's a shopping mall sitting there. Well, you remember when you was there and what happened, and you know, just what was going on at that time. You remember the people that owned the barn and their families and whatever. Yeah, I can remember. I'll be driving along a piece of highway, and it just something tells you, now I've been here before, and then you look and the barn's not there anymore, but that's where the barn used to be. Any way you go about it, this sign always ends up on a T. Whether you start from this end or start from that end. Done to a T. That's the way it is. People ask me what's my favorite letter on the sign. You know, I said a T. Because either way you go at it, that's the last one. You got it done when you got that T done. Must have got it spelt right, but not on the T's. All downhill from here on out. With a little practice, I said, well, that's what I've had, yeah. 40 years of it. And I'm still learning. You work up and down. It's warming up a little, isn't it? Old carpenter ants is working on this barn. Yeah, let's see. There'll be good enough. Smoother. I'll just put the whole thing on. Harley Warrick, W-A-R-R-I-C-K. At least when I'm going, at least I'll have a lot of tombstones out there to show I've been there. Because there's a part of you in every one of those barns anyway.